Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you.
Hello, my name is Tom Jacobson, and I'm here at Atlanta BrickCon 2024 again this year. And at this year's show, I've got my new centerpiece build. I titled it Imperial Tactical Operations. I guess you could either say it's perhaps from the Death Star or from Super Star Destroyer or something. You know, I leave it up to the imagination, but what I do here is just a daily scene of Imperial tactical operations from a military standpoint. So I've got two Imperial shuttles here. One is being maintained. I got another one flying here. I got a little guy there that's bringing them in. I've got an Imperial landing craft that's getting ready to be loaded with some stormtroopers there that are getting their last minute instructions before they load on. Got some cargo loading on here as well. And so there's a lot going on, and I got all the rooms. We'll look at that on the other side too, on the sides and the back. But it's just a typical day on the Death Star or on an Imperial Star Destroyer, you know, from a military standpoint and military operations. So there's a lot going on. Got refueling the shuttles, and a lot of maintenance and cargo and troop operations and all that stuff kind of going on here too.
One of the things I love that you've done with this is, while there's a lot of action and things going on, it also feels very sleek, and you've got lots of tiles. So talk about kind of your design approach to that and how you were able to get everything looking so nice here.
Right, that's been kind of my trademark in my builds. I do a lot of detail, but I try to keep the clutter down. I do use a lot of tile just to kind of give that clean look. I try to leave as many, I try to cover up as many studs as I possibly can, just to give it that clean lines and a clean look. But like I said, a lot of detail, but without a lot of the clutter. And so that's how I kind of operate how I go into my builds. Try to do that clean look. That's kind of my style. That clean, uncluttered look, but with a lot of detail.
So we can take a look at some of the rooms on the outside. Then you've got lots of details. I guess starting at this end, we'll work our way around. What are some of the rooms that you have represented here?
Well, I've got a lot of different rooms here. On the side over here, I've got on the bottom, it's just a hallway for people, walking back and forth. On the second level right here, it's the firing room for the super weapon for the Death Star. To kind of try to emulate as much as I could, based upon the lighting from the movie and stuff like that. Up here is kind of the command center. On the top floor there on the third level is the command center. I tried to emulate as best I could from the movies as well, from like Return of the Jedi. And I got a hallway coming in. I'm not sure what this room is here. I just did something, and it is whatever you want it to be. So yeah, this is my favorite room. I try to do the lighting as close as possible to the way it is in the movies. On the control room here, I kind of did a mix of red and white light together to kind of give it that tactical look to it. So that's kind of what that is. And then I just got a couple other hallways over here. Another hallway down here is stormtrooper training, how to teach them to shoot straight. So I've got the stormtroopers on the screen on the wall there, and I got the instructor with his baton, showing them how to shoot straight, basically. And then the last one on the bottom here, the small one, that's droid maintenance. So you got one technician there with the droid head off, working on it, and I got the other technician there working on an Imperial probe droid. So that's kind of rounds out what's on the side panel over here.
And as we go around to the back, there's even more.
Yeah, there's a lot here. This whole section right here, this is kind of an homage to my wife. My wife was the director of public works and the water department director in the city where we lived for many, many years. So this is the water department. So everybody needs drinking water, right? And so this is the water department. And I got tanks and piping and controls and technicians and all that kind of around. And I kind of did some cool things with the lighting here with the white lighting on top of the tanks, and then on the bottom to kind of give it a little bit more depth, I got the blue lighting just to kind of give it that little bit more depth as well. So I think it came out pretty well. Then over here I got another control room thing going on with that has the doorway that leads out into the balcony, onto the flight deck over there, and at the far end here, maybe you can move these things here. I've got the turbo laser room up there, and I I custom built the turbo laser at the far end there. Try to emulate as close as possible to what's in the movie. And then in the second level at the far end, that's TIE fighter training. So they're all sitting there at their desks with the instructor, and you can see got the TIE fighter on the screen where it's instructor, and then the room with the red lighting in there, that's all their helmets are all lined up there while they're doing their class. So that's kind of rounds out the rooms here as well. So it's I think the lighting came out really well. I'm really happy with that, and people are are very very appreciative of what it is. And people ask me where do I get my lighting, and I tell them where I get it from a company called Brick Loot up in Chicago, and so yeah, that's kind of my build.
So you mentioned the lighting there, and it is really impressive. How do you incorporate that so seamlessly throughout the whole build here, both in the rooms here and kind of the large hangar section as well? It looks so perfect here. Great work.
It's actually, there's one of the guests at the show here that just asked me that same question about 20 minutes ago. And I said, that's one of the things that you have to be cognizant when you do the build is, as you're doing the build, where are the wiring going to go, where are the power bars going to go. So I do leave kind of a couple sections blank, like right here. You see the wire coming out here. So this is a section that's got the 110 outlets and also the USB power bars. Got another power bar here. Then I got wiring, another power bar hidden up in this section up here. So it's something very cognizant, and because they asked me what was the most challenging part of the build, and I said what to do with the wiring, what to do with the power bars. So that's the biggest challenge. And so. But otherwise, I think I'm very pleased with the build, and again, like I said, my paramount is clean lines, a lot of tile, and a lot of detail and no clutter.
I love that. And speaking of clean lines, we can stop now and take a look at another Star Wars themed build that you've got here at the show.
Yet another one of my world famous Star Wars Frank Lloyd Wright mashups here. One of my themes that I've done at several shows over the last few years is what if Frank Lloyd Wright existed in the Star Wars universe, and what if certain Star Wars characters had hired Frank Lloyd Wright to build them a house or some kind of a structure, what that might look like. In this case here, this is number 5 in the series. This is what if General Reiki in Empire Strikes Back had hired Frank Lloyd Wright to build a ski chalet or a ski lodge on Hoth, basically for the entertainment of the rebel troopers there. Before they got obviously annihilated by the Empire, but what might that look like? So I designed this, based upon his prairie-style house. I incorporated the trans light blue elements in all the windows and everything to kind of give it that cold, icy look, and obviously a lot of white, on Hoth, and used a lot of white tile, white with the light bluish gray trim to give it that little bit of color offset. And then what I try to do the terrain with all the wedges and stuff like that to give it a little bit more definition and depth, and with the rocks and all that. Then I put a couple of Hoth troopers on skis going down the hill, and got a guy coming on a tauntaun just to see what's going on. Another one of my famous Star Wars Frank Lloyd Wright mashups at the show here. I'm working on another one right now, but this is one I got done for the show here. So.
With this build, you've got this large flat roof, so structurally that can be difficult sometimes to make sure that isn't just kind of collapsing in itself. What are the techniques you use there? Well,
what I do is I take plates, 16 by 16 plates, or 8 by 12 plates, or 6 by 12 plates, and kind of piece it all together. Then I use 6 by 10, 8 by 10, 2 by 8, 2 by 10 plates in the middle that kind of make like a sandwich. Then I put the tile on top. So there's not a lot of structural integrity there, but I do a lot of beams and stuff like that and inside. So when I press everything down, everything kind of stays up. Because then again, there's no interior on this, because with the way I did it, with the lighting, and the windows to make it more Frank Lloyd Wright-ish, you can't see in anyway. So I didn't do any furniture. But if you take this off, again, there's a 110 power strip, and then 2 or 3 USB power bars in there as well, and a lot of a lot of wiring for all the lighting. So, yeah, but you're right. I need to have the beams going across to support when I press the because the roof is very flexible. And so I have to have that structure underneath it when I press everything down to make sure that that stays in place and I don't crush it. So
it's a great looking build, though, and certainly very reminiscent of the Frank Lloyd Wright style, and I love how you've continued this series over the years. So you've got these builds here in Atlanta, but you'll actually have these at a number of other shows throughout the year, right, if people want to see these in person?
Absolutely. I'll be doing most of the Brick Fan Expo shows later in Tampa and Orlando and Jacksonville, and then I believe we're going to be in Memphis and Charlotte. And I'll still do a few shows for Brick Convention as well this year. So yeah, so people can come out and see that. I'll have about 9 builds for the show, for those other shows. I'll have another Frank Lloyd Wright Star Wars mashup for you. I'm working on Wedge Antilles' house right now. That he built a house on Endor, and I have a separate module for him with his X-wing on it too. So yeah, then another one coming.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for taking us through your builds here. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Great. Thank you so much. Good to see you guys again.